this Draymond Green renaissance? What are we calling this? Like, you know what's funny about this whole thing? Draymond Green comes out there with
is this a renaissance?
This is, I don't know what it is. You know what it is?
That's the right word.
It's a big,
I don't know if that's the one.
heaping pile of, excuse my language, earmuff the kids in the car bullshit. I laughed so hard at this video this morning. Like, Draymond has been for years going, "You're not ready. This is new media. This is new media." You did like a 40-minute apology? That's not even an apology. It was like an apology to yourself, not to anybody else. Like, you were out for 3 weeks?
He's had progress meetings, Zach.
What does that mean?
Progress meetings.
No, he just repeated the words again. He didn't explain that to me.
That's a good question. It was like Lawrence Frank's reports. Who knows what were in them? Nobody knows. We just know he had to do them.
Oh, those are goated. I don't look. I host a podcast called Cinephobe, where we break down bad movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. We try to ascertain if they're properly poorly rated, or maybe they didn't get a fair shake. It's Cinephobe. It's myself and Amin Al-Hassan, produced by Anthony Mays, wherever you get podcasts. In that every episode, we have an award for who was the most ass on, right? Who, like, someone acts their ass off. It's like, wow, what a great performance. Someone is horrible. We give it an ass on award. That entire Draymond thing was an ass on award. Like, he podcasted his ass on. That was one of the weirdest displays, one of the weirdest performances I've ever seen from him, from anybody. And Josh, like, I just don't, are we supposed to buy that? Or is this just, we put it out there, it's public PR? Like, who's buying this other than like maybe Draymond fans and like Warriors fans that really want this thing to get fixed?
Well, isn't this like the playbook for like celebrity screw-ups?
Yes.
Regardless of sports, actors, politicians, it's they say or do say it's something racist, or they do something stupid in public. Where do they go? What do? They apologize. They say, I was on Ambien, or I have a problem, and they go to rehab. And they're like, I'm dealing with a real issue.
I just got a prescription for
going
Ambien,
to rehab.
So I'm
buckle
gonna
up. We're gonna get some wild texts. But you know what I mean? It's that whole thing where it's like, hey, I have a problem. I am a victim too of something out of my control. I need to go get help. Don't blame me, because I am just a victim of the disease I'm fighting.
Right.
And then everybody's like, you know, good for them.
Good for them. Like, look, and I say this as one, okay? Is being an asshole a disease?
An asshole? I knew it. How did I know?
Josh, we've been communicating too much. And I don't even mean that, like, I'm not trying to like be mean about that with Drake. Like, he's an asshole. I'm an asshole. Like, I can admit, like,
if you're going to be an asshole, you also have to be good. There's no room to be an asshole and not be good. That's your problem. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be an asshole, there's athletes that are assholes all the time. But if they're good, everybody's
great.
Everybody's just like,
job,
okay,
right? Yeah.
They're like, fine.
Was it major?
But he's not as good anymore.
Well, was it major league when Pedro Serrano got like they talked to him? They kind of had an intervention with him. He came back. It was just a super nice guy and could not hit
Major
anymore.
League 2. Major League, that's the second one.
It just could not hit anymore because he cured himself of he was too all the ills in his life.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Draymond Green is going to come back hugging opponents. He's going to come back like high-fiving refs, and he's going to be terrible at basketball.
Did you ever read Tim Grover's book? You guys know Tim Grover's, and what did he say? He said, everybody great has to have a dark side.
Yeah.
If you're going to be great, you have to have a dark side. And if you get if
Tim Grover, by the way,
rid of his,
I read that book. That dude's a psychopath.
Psychopath. They made us read that in college, and I read that. I was like, this is what you want?
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of college classes were you taking?
And then
sorry. Johnny Dawkins gave it to our team.
I found your class
was that before or after he gave you the 48 Laws of Power to read?
Oh man, we were the type. There was the Tim Grover, and we had like the Navy SEALs come in one preseason. Like, we were all about the whole. Yeah, that was our style.
Did you train with the Navy SEAL or just?
We did one day with the Navy SEAL. I swear to God, I've never been more tired in my life.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
But it was 2 hours on the basketball court, 2 hours in the pool, and then 2 hours in sand.
That's only 6 hours, though. You know, you got a whole 18 hours to recover after that.
I swear, like, I remember being done and trying to leave the locker room. I physically could not lean over to put my socks on because my entire body cramped up.
Hey,
And I
man,
just laid in the locker room for like an hour and a half.
I did a Soul Cycle class once, and I
Yeah,
thought
so you can relate.
I thought my quads died. Yeah, it's just look for a non-college basketball athlete. Yeah, it's the
Zach's
same
like,
thing.
I can empathize. I get it. I've been there.
No,
I did a
hey,
Soul Cycle one time.
The instructor came over and cranked the resistance on my bike to the max, and I was like, "What's wrong with you? What a psychopath!"
Right. Guys like
it's the
Jay
same
can't
thing.
relate.
Yeah, well, he went 2-21 in college.
I tried out for a G League team when I
How'd
was
that go?
like 26 and so
He's sitting
far
here
out
with
of
us.
shape. And it was a 7 or 8 hour tryout, and I wanted to die at the end. I could not stand up straight for a full week. I can
tried out for
relate
the
too,
N1 tour.
Josh.
I tried out for the N1 tour. I just
Yes, you
stand
guys
in
know.
line for
You
2
guys
hours.
get it.
Same
Us
thing.
elite athletes, you
Yeah.
were all on the same page.
Yeah. Bob McKinnon had my ass feeling it.
So Draymond sucks up to Adam Silver in it. He sucks up to Bob Myers in it. March, let's say March is the next incident. Like, when do we, like, this isn't, because also, like, all right, I watch a lot of Bar Rescue, okay, and Bar
Great
Rescue,
show.
John Taffer will
Shut
come
it
in
down.
and like try to fix someone's like childhood trauma, a
Deep-
loss, like
Deeply
alcoholism.
rooted
In 2 days.
problems.
2 days.
2 days.
And then it's like, and then they put on nice clothes. There's the new bar opens or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, my job's done. Like, if Draymond has real
Yeah.
issues that he's working through here, 3 weeks off of work is not going to fix it, right? And so what
No.
does Adam Silver do? What does Joe Dumars do when this happens again? Because it's not like he's not cured. Like, you can get help and have issues still and good times and then relapses of whatever that he's relapsing from. Again, I just think he's been an a-hole, and I say that lovingly. Like,
And only on the basketball court, right? Like, we haven't heard anything.
he
about
hit
Draymond off the
didn't he hit like a Michigan State football player at a bar once a few years ago?
Yes. Yeah. But Stephen A. Smith loves
Forgot
him and
about
says
that one.
he's the best type of person.
Hey, man. I respect it.
I will say, I think it'll work if he has like just been sitting in his house doing nothing the 3 weeks. Not gonna happen. But if he has like actually been like going to see somebody and he continues to do it,
But
maybe.
that doesn't stop it from happening in the future. It can curb and you can learn and everything, but I think it's going to happen again.
Right.
He's going to hit somebody again or push someone.
Well,
like, there's going to be another altercation, and
yeah.
then what do you do as the
Yeah.
league? Whatever. Like, the league has set this precedent now of, we're going to do an indefinite suspension. You're going to do counts and everything. When it happens again, now what?
Right.
You suspend him more? Do you give him more counts? Like, what does that look like? That's the thing that I'm confused about this whole new process. And again, like, I wrote this in the bounce, I think, when it happened, of, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here, but like, I think this is both a good and a bad way of handling this. The indefinite suspension of like, hey, we don't know. We know we have to do something. We don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to give you an indefinite suspension. We'll figure out from there. I think there is something to that idea of look, we are going to figure out what is the best recourse for figuring out how to help you with an issue that we think you have. I think that's a good thing. I also think sometimes you just be like, 15 games, go home.
And the league is just clearly fed up with Draymond shenanigans. I think at this point, even the Warriors are fed up with Draymond shenanigans.
I don't know if that's true, based on him having a sit down with Big Boss Man himself, and I don't know.
They suspended him in this situation far longer than they would for anyone else in the league. Anyone else in the league
because he has the bigger.
You have to. The history is there.
That's what I'm saying, though. They're fed up with all the nonsense that he's done, and it's only gotten progressively worse. His temper. He hasn't made any steps on the court. Maybe he has the last month or whatever, but toward curbing his temper on the court. It just hasn't changed. It's gone the wrong way the last year or two.
Josh, do you think as someone who's competed against him, as someone who knows this mentality, do you think he can change his intensity on the court and still be an effective player?
No, because I think it's his intensity on the court that made him who he is. And I
What
think
is
he
that?
was
What is
able
that
to-
like as an opponent? Like
Did you wear a
going
cup?
against him, like no, like just his communication, his intensity, his execution on both ends of the floor. Like, what is that like to go against?
Well, listen, like I've never been a big Draymond fan, like, but I could at least respect that he was a key to the Warriors' success when they were successful, right? The things that he did, the pressure that he took off of Steph and Clay, he was a great, like, objectively, he's a great defender. You know what I mean? He was the leader on the floor, the vocal leader on the floor. He was the enforcer, whatever you want to call it, all those things. But it doesn't, it's people aren't scared of him anymore. I think people used to be intimidated by the Warriors. They were intimidated by Steph and by Clay and by Draymond, but it's just not the same anymore, and it doesn't work anymore. And I think he senses that. And it's a weird feeling for when has he not won? When have the Warriors not? When has he not won?
Yeah, I mean, just the year that Steph was hurt all but 5 games, right?
Right,
Like,
which was a
they were
weird
bad.
situation.
Draymond
right? He was
basically just
great
like
at Michigan
stopped trying
State
during that time
Right.
too.
He was
checked
winner at
all
Mich-
the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were great at Michigan. He was great at Michigan State. Gets to the Warriors. They almost immediately start winning. Right? Like it's hard to let go when the end of an era hits, when a dynasty starts to fall apart. And I think he senses that. And I don't think he likes people not being scared of him anymore, honestly.
Yeah, you gotta start choking and hitting.
Because who's scared of him? Who's scared of the Warriors anymore?
Yeah, and
nobody.
Nobody.
Bad. Yeah.
and nobody was scared of Draymond physically. It was like they
No.
were afraid that he was going to whip their ass on the basketball court and that he was going to
Exactly.
mess up every single possession, make every
Exactly.
right rotation, find Steph and Clay in transition for runs that will just snap you out of everything you try to do. And that's what they were afraid of. And that's what they don't have anymore. And so now he's leaning more into the enforcer role, and
It's not working.
It doesn't work.
Nobody backs down anymore.